Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to help you absolutely crush it in your next job interview.
Ooh, I like that.
You guys sent in this awesome guide,
Yeah.
packed with tips and tricks, and we're here to break it all down.
Unpack it.
Unpack it. Whether you're prepping for a specific interview or just want to level up your game, this deep dive has got you covered.
You know, one of the things that really stood out to me about this guide is that it really dives into the psychology behind interviewing.
Oh, interesting.
You know, it's not just about, like, memorizing a bunch of canned answers.
Right.
It's about understanding the whole game, like what the employer is really looking for and how to position yourself as the solution they didn't even know they needed.
Okay, I am intrigued.
Right.
So everyone says your resume is like the key.
Yeah.
But this guide seems to have a different take on that whole thing.
It does. It does.
What's the deal with that?
It actually throws out this idea that the goal of a resume is to get you the job.
Really?
Yeah. Instead, the real purpose, it argues, is to get you the interview.
So the resume is kind of like the opening act.
Exactly.
Not the whole show.
It gets your foot in the door.
Right.
The interview is where you really get to shine, where you connect with the hiring manager.
Yeah.
And just as importantly, where you decide if the job is the right fit for you.
I like that a lot.
Right.
So much of the advice out there makes it sound like the interview is just jumping through hoops.
Yeah, you're just,
Like, prove yourself to me. But this is more like a two-way street.
It is. This guide even debunks some common interview myths.
Okay.
Like this idea that employers have some sort of magical insight into your soul.
Oh, thank goodness.
It's a little more practical than that.
That's a relief.
Less pressure.
Less pressure. So if they're not, like, mind readers,
Right.
what are employers looking for? Give us the inside scoop.
They are looking for two key things.
Okay.
Can do and will do.
Can do and will do.
Can do is all the stuff on your resume,
All right.
skills, your experience. The tangible things that you bring to the table.
Okay, that makes sense. And will do.
Will do, yeah.
Is that like showing up on time?
Yeah,
Not wearing, like, sweatpants to the interview?
that's part of it.
Okay.
But it's really about showing that you're a good fit, you're genuinely interested, you're going to bring a positive energy to the team,
Right.
personality, attitude, how you mesh with the company culture.
So it's not just about being a robot who can do the tasks.
Right.
It's about being someone they'd actually want to work with.
You got it. And the guide has some really interesting tips on how to demonstrate that will-do factor, even if you are nervous.
Okay.
Like, for example,
Yeah.
it talks about reframing the dreaded question, why do you want this job?
That question. I'm always stumped on that one.
I know, right?
What's the secret?
Most people just default to, like,
Yeah.
because I need a job or something equally uninspiring.
I need the money.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But this guide says you need to flip the script.
Okay.
Instead of making it about your needs.
Right.
Make
Yeah.
it about their problems and how you can solve them.
Oh, so it's less about
Yes.
I need money
Right.
and more about I
That's
see
it.
that you're trying to achieve X and my experience with Y would be a perfect fit.
You got it.
Okay.
It's about positioning yourself as the answer to their prayers, even if they didn't know what they were praying for.
I love that.
Right.
Okay, so how do you even figure out what their problems are in the first place?
Right.
Like, do I need to become some sort of corporate spy?
No need for espionage.
Okay.
This guide talks about the importance of pre-interview research,
Okay.
and it goes way beyond just glancing at their website.
Okay.
Deep dives into industry publications.
Wow.
Finding niche websites where professionals in their field hang out.
Interesting.
Using specialized search engines to uncover things that they might not be broadcasting on their homepage.
So become an expert on their world before you even step foot in the interview.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right.
But what about figuring out what I bring to the table?
Yeah, that's a good question.
How do you know which of your skills are the most valuable to highlight?
That's where this concept of portable skills comes in.
Portable skills.
These are abilities that go beyond a specific job title.
Okay.
Things like communication, problem solving, leadership, and so on. And the guide has this great exercise for identifying your portable skills
Oh, cool.
and figuring out how they translate to different roles and industries.
So it's not just listing the tasks you did at your last job.
No.
It's about figuring out the underlying skills that made you successful and showing how those could benefit this employer.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it gets even more interesting.
Okay.
The guide uses this visual of a ladder
A ladder, okay.
to explain how you can showcase your skills in a more impactful way.
I'm picturing this ladder. Give me an example.
Okay, so let's say one of your portable skills is working with people. On the bottom rung of the ladder, you might list, like, communication.
Okay.
But as you move up, you're showcasing more sophisticated abilities.
Okay.
So next comes persuasion.
Right.
Then maybe negotiation or mentoring.
I like that.
It's all about showing that you've mastered the basics.
Right.
And that you can handle these increasingly challenging responsibilities.
It's not just a laundry list of skills.
Right.
It's a strategic way of presenting your growth and potential.
Exactly.
I love that. This guide even gets into the nitty-gritty of what to pack in your interview kit.
Yes.
Both physical and digital interview kit.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Think of it as your arsenal for interview success. Everything from, the basics, like extra copies of your resume, references, but also things that can really make you stand out.
Okay.
Like think about a portfolio of your work,
right?
Especially if you're in a creative field.
Right.
And depending on the role, you might even consider a concise PowerPoint presentation.
Oh, wow.
That highlights your key achievements and how they relate to this specific job.
A PowerPoint. That's interesting.
Yeah.
It seems like most people just focus on practicing their answers.
Right.
There's like a whole other level of preparation.
Exactly. It shows that you're going above and beyond, that you're taking this seriously,
Mm-hmm.
that you're thinking about how to best present yourself to them.
Right.
And this kit can be digital, too.
Oh, okay.
So you're ready, whether it's a video call or an in-person meeting.
Okay, so you're prepared for anything.
Exactly.
It's like having a secret weapon up your sleeve.
It is.
But let's talk about something that can be even more nerve-wracking than the interview itself.
Right.
Dealing with those unexpected questions that just throw you completely off your game.
Oh, yeah.
Any advice for staying cool under pressure?
The guide's advice here is surprisingly simple.
Okay.
Breathe.
It sounds so obvious.
Yeah. But when you get hit with a question that stumps you, that deep breath can be a lifesaver.
Right.
It gives you just a moment to collect your thoughts.
Okay. Breathe. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
But what about when you genuinely don't know the answer?
Right.
Should you just, admit defeat?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
The guide suggests acknowledging the question thoughtfully.
Mm-hmm.
You can say something like, "That's a great question. I haven't encountered that specific situation before, but based on my experience with, a related skill or situation, I would approach it by..."
You're showing how you think.
Exactly.
Even if you don't have the perfect textbook answer.
Exactly. And remember, it's okay to ask clarifying questions if you need to.
Oh, okay.
It shows that you're engaged and that you're really trying to understand their perspective.
That takes the pressure off.
Right.
It's more about the process than having all the answers memorized.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
But let's talk about a specific type of question. That seems to always trip people up.
Yeah.
Tell me about your weaknesses.
Oh, yeah.
What's the best way to handle that?
Yeah.
Without, completely sabotaging yourself.
Yeah, this guide has a really interesting take on this.
Okay.
As you shouldn't shy away from the question,
Mm-hmm.
but you also don't want to confess to some fatal flaw that's going to completely disqualify you from the job.
So it's like a balancing act.
It is.
What's the sweet spot?
The guide suggests choosing a weakness that is relevant to the job,
Okay.
but also something that you're actively working to improve.
Okay, I'm seeing how that works.
Yeah.
So, for example, if I'm applying for a leadership role, I might say, I sometimes struggle with delegating tasks effectively,
Right.
but I'm taking steps to improve that by, give a concrete example.
Exactly. You're being honest, but you're also demonstrating self-awareness and a commitment to growth.
Yeah.
It shows that you're not afraid to acknowledge areas where you can improve, which is actually a very desirable trait.
It's brilliant.
Right.
It turns a potential negative into a positive.
Exactly. And speaking of turning things around,
Okay.
this guide has a whole section on handling those challenging circumstances that come up in interviews.
Right.
Think about those curveball questions or maybe a panel interview.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're facing multiple interviewers at once.
Panel interviews, those can be so intimidating.
Oh, I know.
Any advice for navigating that situation?
The guide really emphasizes treating each interviewer as an individual.
Okay.
Make eye contact with everyone. Address them by name if possible.
Right.
And tailor your responses to their specific questions or comments.
So be mindful of the group dynamic,
Yeah.
but also recognize that each person is bringing their own perspective to the table.
And if you get hit with the same question multiple times, rephrase your answer slightly each time so that you sound like you're adaptable and that you're really listening to each person's individual focus.
So you're not just reciting a memorized script.
Exactly.
This has been so insightful. It feels like this guide goes way beyond the usual interview advice.
It does.
It's like a masterclass in understanding the whole psychology of the process.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it all comes down to preparation, authenticity, showing that you're not just a candidate, but you're a solution.
You got it.
You have these valuable skills and experience to offer.
That's right.
It's not about begging for a job.
No.
It's about showing them what you bring to the table.
Exactly.
And how you can help them succeed.
That's it.
I am feeling so much more confident now.
Good.
To tackle my next interview.
That's fantastic.
Thanks for guiding us through this deep dive. It's been incredibly helpful.
You're welcome.
And to all of our listeners out there, good luck with your interviews. You got this.
You got this. It focuses on the nonverbal dance of interviewing. Like how you carry yourself, your facial expressions, even how you enter the room. It sounds a little bit, woo-woo, but it actually makes a huge difference.
Okay, I'm picturing some like awkward interpretive dance moves right now.
Right.
Break it down for me. What are the key steps to nail this nonverbal dance?
Think confidence, but grounded. The guide talks about walking tall and not literally like needing to be tall.
Right.
But projecting that sense of self-assuredness from the moment you arrive.
So no slouching.
No slouching.
Trying to shrink into the background.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that.
Good.
What else?
Smiling.
Yeah.
A genuine one, not that, like creepy salesperson grin.
Right.
And making eye contact. It shows that you're approachable and engaged.
Yes.
Which goes a long way in building that rapport.
I'm all about good vibes. I love it.
Me too.
But what about after that initial greeting? How do you keep that positive momentum going throughout the whole interview?
That is where the guide gets into the art of listening.
Okay.
And I don't just mean like nodding politely while you're waiting for your turn to talk. We're talking active listening, which is a game changer.
Okay, active listening.
Yeah.
Sounds intense.
It is.
The difference.
It's about being completely present in the conversation, not just waiting to jump in with your rehearsed answer.
Okay.
Picking up on their cues.
Okay.
Tone of voice, body language.
Right.
Responding thoughtfully. Showing that you truly understand what they're saying.
So it's about being a participant in the conversation.
Exactly.
Not a passive listener.
Yeah. The guide even suggests like using their words.
Okay.
Reflecting back what you're hearing to make sure that you're both on the same page.
Right.
It shows that you're not just hearing them, you're getting them.
That's a great tip.
Right.
Taking mental notes.
Yeah.
Proving that you are paying attention. All right. Well, what about those moments when you are expected to speak?
Yes.
How do you handle the actual interview questions?
This is where things get really interesting.
Go.
The guide emphasizes speaking the language of business.
Ooh. Okay.
It's not enough to just describe your skills and experience.
Right.
You have to frame them in a way that resonates with the employer's bottom line.
Right.
Think, dollars and cents, ROI, tangible results.
So instead of saying, like, I'm a creative problem solver, I should say something like, at my last company, my innovative solution to problem saved the company amount of money time.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about showing them the impact that you made, not just the tasks that you performed.
Got it.
And this applies even to those like tricky behavioral questions. Tell me about a time you failed.
Those always throw me off.
I know, right?
What's the best way to handle those?
The guide suggests using the STAR method.
STAR method.
Situation, task, action, result. Okay.
Yeah.
It helps you structure your answer in a way that highlights your skills and the positive outcome, even when you are discussing a challenging experience.
Okay, STAR method, got it. But what about those completely unexpected questions?
Right.
The ones that are like designed to make you sweat?
Yes.
How do you stay calm and collected when you get hit with a curveball?
This is where your will-do attitude really shines through.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to pause. Take a breath, gather your thoughts.
Okay.
If you need clarification, ask.
Ooh.
It shows that you are thoughtful, not flustered.
So it's okay to admit that you don't have an instant, perfectly polished.
Yes, absolutely. The guide even points out that some interviewers intentionally ask off-the-wall questions.
Really?
To see how you think on your feet.
Oh, wow.
And how you handle ambiguity.
That makes sense.
Right.
So it's not about having all the right answers. No.
It's about demonstrating how you approach a problem.
Yeah.
Even if you've never encountered that exact problem before.
Exactly. And this applies even to potentially sensitive topics, like questions about religion or disability.
Right.
The guide has some really insightful advice on how to navigate those tricky situations.
Okay.
With grace and professionalism.
So even if a question feels like off limits, there's a way to handle it appropriately.
Yes.
Without compromising your values or authenticity.
Exactly. Now let's move on to the grand finale.
Yes.
Negotiating the offer.
The part where we talk numbers.
Yes.
And hopefully seal the deal.
Hopefully.
Okay, so what are the key things to keep in mind when it comes to negotiation?
The guide really emphasizes that this is still part of the sale.
Okay.
You've wowed them in the interview. Now it's time to make sure that you're both getting a good deal.
So even though it's tempting to just immediately say yes, it's worth taking the time.
It is to consider the offer carefully.
Absolutely. And the guide suggests, delaying the salary discussion until you've really demonstrated your value.
Oh, interesting.
It's also crucial to do your research on industry standards.
Right.
So that you know what's reasonable.
Okay, so do your homework.
Yeah.
Don't jump the gun on the salary talk.
Exactly.
Right.
Negotiate a range, not a fixed number.
Right.
It gives you flexibility, and it signals that you're open to discussion.
Okay.
And don't forget, negotiation isn't just about salary.
Wow.
Think about benefits, vacation time, professional development opportunities, anything that adds value to the overall package.
So it's about thinking holistically.
Yeah.
Advocating for what you deserve. Not settling for the first thing they offer.
Exactly. And the guide even provides some scripts for how to phrase your negotiation request in a confident and professional way.
I always feel a little bit awkward when it comes to negotiation.
I know, right?
So having those scripts is a really helpful starting point.
It is. It is.
But let's rewind for a second. Okay. Before we even get to the negotiation stage, there's this whole pre-interview prep phase.
Yes.
What are some of the essential things to do once you've actually landed the interview?
This guide has a whole section on building your interview kit.
Okay.
And it's brilliant.
Okay.
It's not just about printing extra resumes. It's creating a toolkit for success.
Okay. I'm picturing a briefcase full of secret weapons.
Yes.
Tell me more about this interview kit.
It's a combination of the essentials, like you said, extra copies of your resume, references, but also, things that can really make you stand out.
Okay.
Think about a portfolio of your work, especially if you're in a more, creative field. And depending on the role, you might even consider a concise PowerPoint presentation.
Oh, wow.
That highlights, your key achievements.
Right.
And how they relate to this specific job.
A PowerPoint. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Most people just focus on practicing their answers.
Right.
This is a whole other level of
It is. Exactly. It shows you're going above and beyond.
Right.
You're taking it seriously, that you're thinking about how to best present yourself to them.
Right.
And this kit can be digital, too.
Okay.
So you're ready whether it's a video call or an in-person meeting.
So you're prepared for anything.
Exactly.
It's like having a secret weapon up your sleeve.
It is.
But let's talk about something that can be even more nerve-wracking than the interview itself.
Okay.
Dealing with those unexpected questions that just throw you off your game.
Oh, yeah.
Any advice for staying cool under pressure?
The guide's advice here is surprisingly simple.
Okay.
Breathe.
Breathe.
It sounds so obvious.
Yeah.
But when you get hit with a question that stumps you, that deep breath can be a lifesaver. It gives you a moment to just collect your thoughts.
Right.
And avoid rambling.
Okay, breathe. Got it. What about when you genuinely don't know the answer?
Right.
Should you just admit defeat?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
The guide suggests acknowledging the question thoughtfully. You could say something like, that's a great question.
Right.
I haven't encountered that specific situation before, but based on my experience with, a related skill or situation, I would approach it by...
So you're showing how you think.
Exactly.
Even if you don't have the perfect textbook answer.
Exactly. And remember, it's okay to ask clarifying questions if you need to.
Oh, okay.
It shows you're engaged and that you're trying to understand their perspective.
That takes the pressure off.
Right.
It's more about the process than having all the answers memorized.
Exactly. Now, beyond the questions themselves, this guide emphasizes the importance of asking thoughtful questions of your own.
Right. I know it's important to ask questions.
Yeah.
What makes a question thoughtful in this context?
It's about showing you've done your research, that you're genuinely interested in the role in the company.
Right.
Avoid asking things they could easily answer from their website.
Okay.
Instead, dig deeper. Ask about, their long-term goals, the challenges they're facing,
right,
opportunities for growth within the role.
So you're demonstrating that you're not just looking for any job.
Exactly.
You're interested in this job at this company.
Yes. Your questions reveal a lot about your priorities and how you think. It's a chance to show that you're not just looking for a paycheck.
Right.
You're looking to make a meaningful contribution.
This has been so insightful.
Good.
It feels like this guide goes way beyond
It does.
the usual, interview advice.
It does.
It's like a masterclass.
It is.
In understanding the psychology of the whole process.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it all comes down to preparation, authenticity,
Yeah.
showing that you're not just a candidate.
Right.
You're the solution.
You got it.
You have these valuable skills and experience to offer.
That's right.
And it's not about begging for a job.
No.
It's about showing them what you bring to the table.
Exactly.
And how you can help them succeed.
Yes.
I feel so much more confident and prepared to tackle my next interview.
I love it.
Thanks for guiding us through this deep dive.
Of course.
It's been incredibly helpful.
Welcome.
And to all our listeners out there, good luck with your interviews.
Yes, good luck.
You got this.
You got this.